That is hardcore.
This is hardcore shit.
But for me, it gets harder and harder to resist.
Welcome to Hardcore Horror with Mike and Brigitte. Woo! Hey, Brigitte, what's going on over there?
Hey, what's up, Mike? How's it going?
It's been a little while. It's we've taken a little break. There was a couple reasons for that, though. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, it's been a minute. So we got a guest tonight. Who we got?
We got Jeff Ignatowski. He's an author. He's a creator of a horror serial killer game. He dabbles in all kinds of stuff. So he should be pretty interesting to talk to.
Awesome. Cool. So yeah, we've been busy. We took a couple weeks off there because we were doing a little indie short, right? Little film.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about later on toward the end of the year, maybe next year. We'll be talking about that. So we had a lot of fun with that, even though the rain got us all wet there for a while, but finished it up in a couple days, right?
Yeah. Hey, pretty damn good for like 2 days. Like,
yeah. We did a lot. We had a lot of good help there. Michael T. Flynn came out and helped us, and so it really knocked it out in 2 days. So very nice.
Yeah.
So what do we got going on? Obviously, Halloween's around the corner. Things are coming out. We see stuff in stores all the time. I know you've seen some stuff by now. It's coming, getting very close, very, very, very near. So there's some upcoming horror movies. Anything you look forward to that's coming out for the holiday season? Anything you're looking forward to? Like, oh my God, I can't wait to see this movie.
Not really. Nothing. I was so excited about Long Legs. I was excited about Maxine. Those have come out. Watch those.
What about Terrifier 3? Yeah.
I mean, I'm not like losing sleep over it or anything because I'm so excited it'll come out. But yeah, no, it's hopefully it'll be just as good as the first and second one.
It just should be good, I think. Yeah, and what about that movie, The Substance? Right, The Substance, when that was called.
The Substance. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, that one might be good. It sounds like it's going to be good. I'm not for sure, but that one, could be one of the better ones coming out. But there's not a whole lot of like big horror movies coming out, is there? Not that I know of. We got obviously there's a couple just dropped, like the Cuckoo just dropped and Trap came out recently, but we got the Alien movie. That's the big one. Speak No Evil. They're giving that quite a bit of exposure and advertising, but I think I'll like it, but I've already seen the movie, so I don't know how.
Are you talking about like the one that came out a couple years ago? Yeah,
so they're doing the remake. The American remake comes out in next month, I think it is. Yeah.
So that's funny. Like, I didn't even know that there was an original version that came out a couple years ago, and I was like, damn, they remade that one awfully fast.
Oh yeah, it was like super fast. It went into production like super fast. Yeah, but they're like in October. There's like there's the Terrifier and there's the Smile 2 that's coming out. But
that should be pretty good.
I think it'll be pretty good, but I don't know. It doesn't. I wouldn't say I'm thinking it's going to be like, oh my God,
Right.
Could be wrong. And I'm sure there's a lot of little indie films that are going to be coming out around that time. But those are like two of the big ones, But nowadays, all these streaming services, they just drop so many things during that holiday season that you can't keep up with all of them. Last year I couldn't keep up with all of it, and I wanted to go back and rewatch the classics, and I really didn't get much time to because there was just so much.
So much new stuff. Yeah. It's like impossible. It's so impossible to watch everything, or even God, you can't even watch like 50% of it. I mean, it's just much stuff that comes out.
That new Wolfman was rumored to come out in October, but I don't think it will because I've not seen any advertising for it. But
I haven't seen any advertising.
At one point, it was supposed to, I think, but yeah, it's probably not going to. More than likely.
What about Scream? When's the next Scream come out?
They haven't even started filming that one yet. They got delayed.
Oh my God, they've been like talking about it forever.
Yeah. Well, they started working on it. Like the story, I guess, was written, and then all that stuff happened with Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega. Whenever they, left the project and everything, it got held up for a long time. So now I think they're trying to really go back and make something really good. So hopefully it's going to be good. But yeah, that probably won't be till next year. I'm thinking.
Yeah. Okay.
That kind of stuff. Yeah. So we have a guy, our guest tonight is going to be talking about serial killers and stuff. That's going to be a big thing. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, a lot of people these days. I mean, but it's always been that way. I feel like because there's always been a little bit of curiosity with that sort of subject matter. But these days, I feel like it's just exploded, especially with podcasts. So, that's a big thing.
Like
but it's really
the true crime podcast
true crime
is
podcast.
so oversaturated. Oh my god!
I mean, there's definitely a lot of them. Is there any of them that you like? Any of them that you subscribe to? That you?
I don't listen to any true crime. I watch a lot of true crime documentaries.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
there's a lot of that too. Yeah, just a lot of that stuff that drops all the time. The only one I really listen to a lot is the Last Podcast on the Left.
Okay, that's a pretty popular podcast.
I really like those guys. They do a lot of true crime, but they also do a lot of like cryptids, the supernatural stuff, and they'll even interview like horror guests and stuff too. So they're very steeped into horror. It's very much a lot of that, but a lot of their stuff is true crime, and it's pretty informative. I like a lot of their stuff, but there are a lot of them out there. But speaking of podcasts, we never really talked about other podcasts. Is there any podcasts that you do listen to? Any horror podcasts or anything like that you like?
Other than ours, no, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts because I'm such a horror movie fan. Mm-hmm. So I spend the majority of my additional time watching horror movies. I work from home most of the time, so I know a lot of our listeners, that the ones that I talk to, they listen to our podcast when they're driving into work or they're traveling. And
yeah, that's
I don't really have a commute, so
yeah, that's when I listen to it mostly now. For the most part, that's the only time I can ever listen to it. So I don't have a whole lot of time devoted to it either as well. Same as you, I don't really do it at home. It's just kind of weird to do it at home, I think. I don't know. Yeah. But I used to listen to a lot more. I mean, obviously, when I can, I listen to our friends over at the Tennessee Horror, the Horror Basement guys. But they do a lot of video stuff, and I can't listen to that in the car. The videos, I can't watch the videos and all that stuff. So I don't do that. But I used to listen to a lot more. There's a lot. There used to be one in Nashville called The Horror Virgin, and there was one called Something Scary or Something Scared Me or something like that. It was a Tennessee, but there was a bunch of Tennessee-based ones I used to listen to. Mm-hmm. I don't really listen to them much anymore, but there's quite a few out there. That's even just this state-based alone. Quite a few. So I thought I'd run through what Cosmopolitan, because we all subscribe to what Cosmopolitan says. What they say is the 25 best horror podcasts. All right.
Okay.
See if you've even heard of any of these, or if you. All right. Number one is. Maybe I should start at 25. Let's see here. Let's start at 25. We'll count down. That kind of stuff. I'll do these real fast because most of these I don't even know either. All right. 25 is called "See You in Your Nightmares."
Okay.
So it's a fiction podcast. So I think it's more like a story. So some of these are stories and some of these are like, true crime, and some of them are just different stuff, Yeah. I think a lot of these are stories though. 24 is called Fright Club.
Fright Club. Okay.
Pretty good name. 23 is the Paranormal Podcast. I guess that's mostly paranormal stuff and UFOs and stuff like that. 22, Two Girls, One Ghost. That's a funny title.
Wow.
Never heard of that one. Number 21, The Magnus Archives. This sounds like true crime. I could be wrong. Number 20, Ghosts in the Burbs.
Ghosts in the Burbs. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 19, Welcome to Night Vale.
Okay.
Never heard of that one either. Number 18, Alice Isn't Dead. That's definitely probably a story, like a story-based one, sounds like.
I think so, yeah.
Number 17, Nightlight. Just horror stories, I guess, different ones. Okay. Number 16, Wrong Station. I like that. That's a good title.
I actually do, too. That one's cute, Wrong Station. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that one. This one's not too bad either. It's number 15, Let's Not Meet.
Let's Not Meet. That's cute. Love it.
But this is a series of people who survived horrific events. So that's maybe a weird title for that, but still not a bad title. So number 14 is Unwell.
Unwell. Okay.
Number 13 is Morbid.
Morbid. All right.
Yeah, not a bad title. Number 12, And That's Why We Drink.
Oh, wow.
Sounds like that could be good. Number 11 is Lore. Now, I actually have listened to some of this one, Lore. They also had a television show that was on Amazon for a while there, on Amazon Prime, Lore. It's just a lot of different, old, you would say, like urban legends and stuff, just or like different stories from the past.
Okay.
Pretty good stuff. Number 10 is the No Sleep Podcast. Yeah.
No Sleep. Okay.
Okay. Number 9, Small Town Dicks.
Small Town Dicks. Wow, that is so funny.
I'm assuming detectives, but yeah. Okay. Number 8 is Dr. Death. I've never heard the podcast, but I did watch that show, the first season with Joshua Jackson. It was pretty messed up. It was a pretty messed up show. I think that was on Peacock. Number 7 is My Favorite Murder. My Favorite Murder. This is a true crime podcast. It's two girls. What it sounds
like, yeah.
It's just two girls talking. I've heard a few of these that they've done. Yeah, they're all right. Number 6 is Dark House. This is again apparently another true crime with a ghost story slant.
Okay.
Number 5, they've got Last Podcast on the left. I said, that's one I listen to. Number 4 is Limetown. Now, this one I think also became a show, if I remember correctly, and I did watch the show. But this was Limetown, Tennessee. Over 300 people went missing in a neuroscience research facility. It's fictitious. It's not real, but it was. I like this show pretty good. The best I can remember. Okay. Number 3 is The Horrors of Dolores Roach. That also is a show. I watched the first couple episodes. I wasn't into it that much. I probably should have maybe stuck with it. It didn't feel too much horror to me at that point. So maybe it got much better. I'm not for sure, but I haven't.
So are the shows like related to the podcasts?
Well, they're probably maybe act them out. I don't know. I haven't really listened to these podcasts to know how, like, to me, it might be just like an adaptation of like from a book. You take the book and you make it into a movie. You take a podcast, make it into a show. That's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Number 2 is Archive 81. So this says this is now a Netflix original too. I didn't know that, but there you go. And number 1 is Scary Story Podcast. This collection of horror stories. It's just different ones, so just different stuff, I guess. That is Cosmopolitan's take on the top 25 horror podcasts. I couldn't say for sure, but there you go.
I can't believe Cosmopolitan wrote an article on top horror podcasts.
Right.
Only one of those I've heard of is Last Podcast on the Left.
Yeah.
Only one I've heard of.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're digging around, I don't think there's a lot of exposure to it. Really. Again, back in the day, I used to search for like horror movie stuff and like would listen to a lot of different ones on different takes on that, but I really don't have that much time to do it anymore. But I wonder how they
even like figure out where the statistics come from on that. I wonder.
I'm sure it's just mostly about listens and views and all that stuff. Or maybe, and that might be like more of a popularity thing. I really don't know where they get their numbers. So, yeah. But anyway, I do want to say thanks to the Tennessee Horror guys because they did help us get our IMDb up. Appreciate that.
Nice.
They helped us with an article. So that was very kind of them to do. But that's all I've got until we get to our guests. Do you have any movies that we want to talk about?
Yeah, one thing that I did want to mention before we talk about our movies is I spent some of the day today with Michael T. Flynn, Wild World Productions. He is working on a film right now. And
always doing something, ain't he? He's always working on films.
Oh my God, is he not the busiest person ever? Oh my God.
Like he's always making movies, yeah.
Always making movies. I love it. Always. And so I have a little small part in one, and he's entering the Dare to Fail Dare to Fail. It's next weekend in Nashville at Third Coast Comedy Club.
Very cool.
So,
Sounds like a fun time. Yeah, I wish I lived closer. I would come out to see it.
Oh man, I wish you would if you want to make a trip to Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're in Nashville, August 17th, come out and see us. It should be pretty fun. We had a blast today. We had so much fun, and so it should be pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool. All right, you ready to talk about some movies?
Sure, let's do it.
Let's do it. It's been a while, so I bet your list is so crazy long.
you would think it would be, but go ahead.
Yeah. So you want me to start off?
Sure.
All right. Well, let's see what we got. Well, I did watch a movie earlier today. I don't even know if this is even considered horror. I think it was horror, but when I was watching it, I was like, is this even considered horror or not? It's the movie Swallow, about the pregnant lady.
Absolutely. I consider that horror for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, when they pulled all that stuff out of her belly, what she was eating, it kind of was horrific. Yeah, that was pretty good. It's been on my list for a really long time. It's an unusual movie. I wouldn't recommend any pregnant women to watch it for sure.
Right.
Another movie that I watched today. It was kind of random that. I think we started watching a movie last night, and this one just rolled on afterwards, and we kind of got interested. And I fell asleep, but ended up watching it earlier today. It's called Horror in the High Desert. Yeah,
I watched that one. So there's a few of those, but the first one, it's found footage, right?
Yep.
So what'd you think?
Oh, I thought it was pretty good. So I was sitting there going, is this based on a true story? Is like, because the actors were so good in it. So kind of finding out it is based on a true story. But I was like, is that real footage? It's not real footage.
Right. We talked about this before, because I think I mentioned when I watched it before, this true story is the guy who wandered off into the cave, right? And they never found him again.
Yeah. The in Nevada, the house, the little, it wasn't a cave. It wasn't a cave? No, it was like a little cabin that was out in the middle of nowhere.
But that's in the movie. But in this real story, was it cabins too?
Oh, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. In the real story, I think it was a cave. I think but it was based on a true story, to a degree. I would say inspired by true story anyway. That's what I would say. But yeah, I liked it too. I thought it was pretty good, honestly.
Yeah, it was a really good movie because it takes a whole lot to even affect me with the movie. I know that sounds really bad, but I'm just kind of desensitized. But there was parts in that movie where I was like, it was pretty intense. I was like, oh my God, what happened to me? So I was getting into it pretty good. But yeah, so another movie that I watched last night, just a really fun time, is CarousHELL. CarousHELL. Have you seen that one?
I've not seen it, but I know. I think I've seen the poster. I know what you're talking about. It's about clowns, right?
No, it's about.
It's not about clowns.
No, it's about a killer carousel.
Okay.
Yeah,
no, I've still not seen it.
Okay, so there's now. So this is the second time I've seen it, and I didn't remember a lot about it, but I remember it being gory and funny. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, let me go do a rewatch of it. Come to find out, there's 3 of them now.
Wow. 3 of them.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, there's 3 of them. Yeah, so exactly, I had no idea. So the first one, the original one's 2016. You can stream it right now on Tubi, so check that out. Okay. Another movie that I first watched for me was All the Boys Love Mandy Lane.
That's an oldie but goodie.
I didn't realize how old it is. 2006. Yeah. I'd never seen it. Seen it. It's pretty good.
Well, I think what happened was, that one got made and everything, but I think it got pushed back, and I don't think it ever got a proper release. And I'm not sure exactly what the details was. I know Amber Heard blew up after that. I don't know exactly if that had anything to do with it, but I don't think it got released the way it was supposed to.
Oh, that's unfortunate because it was a really good movie, and that's what I was kind of thinking when I was watching. I was like, this is pretty good. Why have I never seen this before? Mm-hmm. So, and you're right, it's not got a lot of attention. It's not really out there. You don't hear people talk about it or anything. But it's pretty good.
Yeah, I like it.
Another movie that I watched was We Summon the Darkness.
Yeah, rock and roll.
Rock and roll. Have you seen this one? Sounds like you have.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. That was from 2020. That was another movie that I just kind of randomly stumbled upon. I was like, hey, I'm gonna watch it. Let's check it out.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good horror / comedy. I think it's a little bit on the lighter side, but yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah. Another one that I watched, I'd never seen it before, is Crimson Peak.
Crimson Peak, Gromero. What'd you think?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, wasn't real scary or anything, but I like the storyline.
It's a little long. I think.
It was kind of long. Totally kind of long. Yeah.
It's got a great gothic atmosphere and everything, and so there's definitely parts. And it's beautiful movie, but a little long.
Oh yeah. I'm obsessed with like Victorian Gothic style houses, and I love the house in the movie. I was like, oh, look at all the architecture. It's cool. It is very Gothic. It was a good movie, but you're right, it is a little long, so take note of that. I did a rewatch of a cult classic, The Lost Boys.
Lost Boys.
I haven't seen it in a really, really long time, so I was like, yeah, let's do a rewatch of it. Yeah, I'm rocking the Lost Boys backpack right now, so I was like, yeah, let me do a rewatch of the Lost Boys. Let's see, what else did I watch? Oh, this one was pretty crazy. This Dead and Buried,
like the old school one with Robert Englund.
It's that movie. It's really different. Have you seen this?
Oh yeah, I like it.
I do too. It was very different. I really enjoyed it.
The townsfolk acting very strange.
Oh yeah, very strange. Another horror movie from 1981. I love my 1981 horror movies.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. There's another one that I watched called Immaculate. This one was This one just come out this year.
Yeah,
I feel like you've seen this one, haven't you?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought so. Have we talked about it on the podcast?
We have. Did you like it?
Yeah, I did like it.
Yeah.
I did. I know I almost think that I had this on my list because you talked about it. Like a lot of my movies are, you're like, all right, we've already talked about it because I just talked about it like a month ago.
Yeah. I mean, I think my words were like, it's pretty good. It's not something you had to rush out to see in theaters or anything, but pretty decent. And Sydney Sweeney's acting at first is kind of so, but toward the end she gets great. I loved her in the final third act there.
Yeah, for sure. What about this one? Is this movie? I don't even know why I even started watching this. It's called Verotika.
Yeah, that's the Danzig. We talked about it when we were shooting. Remember we were talking about Danzig, Verotika, and all that.
Oh no, I don't remember those. That is so funny. Oh my god, did I already tell you that I watched this?
No, because we were talking about it. That I think you said you hadn't watched it at that point. So,
okay. So
maybe that's what sparked it for you. But what did you think about Verotika?
Okay, so I didn't really like it.
Well, okay, all right. So it's really weird, right? Really weird. I don't hate it, but there's something about it. There's just something about it, but it's so bad. But I don't even know. I think we were talking about with Tony because I was asking him. I was like, "Do you think it's intentionally bad?" Like because the way the acting is, it seems like almost purposeful.
Yeah. I do really appreciate, it's all these different little shorts. The very last one, the gore in it was extra. So I really appreciated that. But it almost kind of reminded me of Hostel 2. Remember Hostel 2 where she hangs the chick upside down, sacrifices the virgin, she's bathing in her blood. It kind of reminded me a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I really appreciated that one. But yeah, you're right. You're right. It's just a bad movie, but I'd still recommend it. I'd still recommend everyone to watch it though.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely worth a watch, but don't expect like if you come to like love his music or something, expect like some sort of great. Like Rob Zombie's first movie was House of Thousand Corpses, right? This isn't House of a Thousand Corpses. This isn't that level. But again, I don't think he was trying to, because it just definitely seems like it was on purpose. But I don't know. And he was the one that was talking, because we were talking about the vampire cowboy movie. That's his second movie. It's a vampire cowboy, like that's his whole genre in the second movie. But the acting is a little better in that one, but it's still kind of out there, So I don't know. I think it might be intentional, but I don't know.
It has to be intentional. I mean, it's like Glenn Danzig. Okay, so it had to be intentional, I think.
Well, I mean, if you look at like Misfits, right? Their songs reference like old movies from like the 50s and 60s and stuff. So maybe he was like, look, let's just do this. And look, for the time that it came out, that's definitely different.
Yeah. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So yeah, I would still recommend it. It's not a great movie, but I think you're onto something there. Like, it's got to be on purpose. But yeah, so there it is. Verotika, check that one out. Another one I watched. So I have never seen this movie before, and you're probably gonna laugh at me, and everyone's gonna laugh at me, but that's okay.
They're all gonna laugh at you. They're all gonna laugh at you.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so funny. Is The Hunger 1983.
Yeah.
I didn't really like it.
You didn't like it?
Not really. I think I just had such high expectations for it, and
you were expecting more horror maybe, or something.
Yes, I think so.
It's sensual horror.
Yeah, it's I don't feel like David Bowie's character, like, you just saw him kind of aging,
Yeah.
And I wanted to see him a lot more in his sexy youth. Yes. Yeah. There wasn't enough horror in there for me. Definitely.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I like it though. I think it's a good movie, but yeah, it's fair enough. That's a good point.
Last one on my list is the original Wicker Man.
I thought you already saw that before.
No, I saw the one with Nicolas Cage in it. And
okay. So, but we have.
You told me, you were like, "Oh no, you got to watch the original one," and I'm really glad that I did, because I like the one with Nicolas Cage in it. But after I've seen the original one,
I don't like the one with Nicolas Cage.
Well, yeah, that's because you watched the original first. I liked it, and then after I watched the original, I'm like, "Oh, I don't even like that one anymore, at all."
Yeah,
at all.
That one's bad. That one, it's bad because they didn't really try to encompass what the movie was about. Really, I feel like, because I love the first one. I think it's a great movie.
Yeah, the first one was awesome. I could have done without the singing in it, but
I thought the singing was good because it fit like the weirdness.
It totally fit the weirdness, though. For real, it's a really good movie. But yeah, so that's all I have on my list. So what about you?
All right, yeah. Well, it's been a really, really long time, and so by all means, I would have a huge long list, right?
Right,
through the roof. But I actually don't, because I haven't maybe watched as many, but also not watched anything good to talk about.
Well, and you have been making a movie too, so that takes up a lot of your time.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just haven't really struck on something that was just absolutely awesome. Well, we'll go through a few of them anyway. There's some I'm not even going to talk about. Some I didn't even list on Slasher because it just, I didn't even honestly pay enough attention to it because it was so boring. But anyway, here's a few of them. There were some of my rewatches too. Rewatch of Nightmare Man, that came out in 2006. I do like this movie. It's that Ralph Kaneski guy. He's done a few movies, but this one's got Tiffany Shepis in it, and it's a movie about this girl in a mask, but they're like she's having maybe hallucinations. You don't know if she's a killer or if she's seeing a killer or what's happening. It works pretty well. I like it. It's very low budget. It was one of those After Dark Film Fest picks.
Yeah.
But Up next was a little low budget film called Malefic, or Malefic. How would you say it? Malefic?
Oh yeah, I've been wanting to see that for a long time. It's in subtitles, right?
No, this one isn't in subtitles. Mm-mm.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no.
Maybe I'm thinking of something different.
This is an American low budget film that came out in 2003.
Okay.
Steve Sessions is the director. I only found this because Lilith Stabbs is in it. Now, Lilith Stabbs was kind of like a little B queen there for a while. She was actually in one of my movies. She was in Cyclical Effects. She did a little cameo. Yeah, I like this movie. This movie it's really, really low budget. So if you don't like really low budget stuff, don't even bother. But I really like this movie. So, four criminals attempt the unthinkable, ransoming the corpse of a dead child back to the family. But things take an even darker turn when they find an old spirit board at the cabin and they are using for a hideout. Again, the practical effects are obviously $10, kind of a deal. But I think it was done pretty well. I liked it.
Yeah, you know what? I like micro budget horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
I do. It's if just because you don't have a lot of money doesn't mean you can't make a good movie. So, I mean, money helps.
Yeah.
It helps.
I mean, the plot, it kind of it's pretty simple. I mean, it starts off with people you don't even know how they're related to anything, and mostly just for kills, I guess. And then it comes with these goth kids, and they're there, and they have the spirit board, and I mean, it's pretty typical, but I mean, enjoyable. I liked it. It worked for me anyway. Up next was a rewatch of 2007's Borderland. Have you ever seen Borderland?
Oh, Borderland. Yeah, of course.
This is another After Dark one. This is actually probably one of the better After Dark ones. Based on the real story, true crime, on a trip to a Mexican border town, three college friends stumble onto a human sacrifice cult.
So that true story is like actually really crazy.
I don't know, it is. It's really crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
And this movie does take a lot of liberties and stuff. Obviously, it doesn't happen exactly the way that went down, but this, I mean, the way the movie works it's pretty cool. It does very well. But yeah, the real story is wow.
Yeah, it's pretty pretty out there.
Yeah.
Pretty out there.
It doesn't make you want to go to Mexico anytime soon.
No doubt.
Up next was a little movie in 2006 or 2007, depending on where you look, called The Dead One. This one, not that great, but had potential. It did definitely have some potential here. It stars like one of the guys from that 70s show, the Wilmer Valderrama. He's the main guy in the movie. Has a bunch of other people that you've seen probably a lot. Michael Parks is in here. So there's quite a few people in the movie. It just isn't that great. I think it's trying to be like The Crow or something.
Mm-hmm. That's what it looks like. I just looked it up to see what the cover looks like. And it looks like it's trying to be kind of like The Crow. Yeah, I mean, it kind of is that too. Like he's dead and coming back, and I don't know. That's kind of what it is. I think it's also PG-13, which makes it not a very good, outing usually. So yeah. Have you seen the original one? The original Dead one? The Dead one?
The original one?
Yeah, there's one from 1961.
No, I have not seen that one. I have not seen that one at all, so I can't compare them, but it might be better. I don't know.
Oh, wow, okay.
So up next was a rewatch of Pet Sematary 2. Now, obviously I've seen this before. It's just been a long time since I'd seen this. I remember last time you watched it, you said this was your favorite one.
Yeah.
And so I went back and watched it and stuff, and I will have to say, after rewatching it, it is a damn good movie.
Hell yeah, it's good. I love that movie.
Especially for this time period, for the late 80s, early 90s, because let's face it, they didn't give a shit about sequels back then. They're like, just throw something on there and slap the title on, we're good. So I still don't think it's better than the original. I'm not with you there, but I do think it's a really good movie. I think that they really put a lot into it. I
Mm-hmm.
think they got a lot of good actors and stuff. Again, for a sequel to really, and it definitely wanted to kind of do its own thing, and not like totally retrace everything from the original.
Yeah, but it had enough of the original story in there.
Definitely, definitely, it's definitely
Yeah, I think
connected.
they did really good on it.
But
I really like that
but it
one.
wasn't just exactly a rehash. There was
Yeah.
enough, I guess, other plot to it that I felt like
Yeah.
that yeah, it's a good movie. Again, I'm not there with you with the best, but it's up there. Definitely better than that last one that came out for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And there's been two pet cemeteries come out, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
And neither one of them were
yeah,
great.
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Up next was a new movie, or 2023, The Black Mass.
The Black Mass, like MASS?
Yes. Yep. The
Okay,
Black
the Black
Mass.
Mass. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of the Black Mass, but I haven't seen it.
All right. So this is that Devaney Penn.
Mm-hmm.
You know her?
No, it kind of rings a bell.
Devaney Penn. I'm not sure exactly. So this is that Devaney Penn, and she's an actress and stuff. She's been in all kinds of indie horror movies, but she directed this one. It was pretty good. It's about Ted Bundy. It's basically about Ted Bundy's last period in Florida before he gets caught, kind of a deal. To be honest, I've seen so many incarnations of this that it's not really nothing new. But I'll give them credit for for a low budget movie, trying to nail down the period and the look and everything and all that. It was pretty decent. If you have to watch true crime stuff and Ted Bundy stuff, definitely give it a spin. Again, it's probably not the best one that's been made of him for sure. It's definitely not, but
What do you think is the best movie based off of Ted Bundy?
Oh wow,
That's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd have to see them all in front of me. What are some of them? Name them.
Names? Ugh.
So I like that one that they came out with years ago, where they came out with like the series, and it was like Ted and Gacy and Dahmer and Ed Gein. I think there's like all three of those, all four of those. That one was pretty good.
Yeah, I think
they were all just named. It was just like Gacy, Dahmer, Bundy. Those were pretty good. That Netflix one wasn't too bad. Did you like that one? The one with
Zac Efron?
Zac Efron, yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of like a different take on the story, so I did really like that.
Yeah, I thought that one was pretty good too. There are other ones too. I've seen quite a few. Like I said, I haven't seen them all, but there's some different ones. I think they should probably do a whole series like they did with the Dahmer. Maybe make one like that. Maybe flesh out more of the details and stuff. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So up next is Nutsack Part 1, Lucifer's Cosmonauts.
What the fuck, Mike? Say that one more time.
Nutsack Part 1, Lucifer's Cosmonauts.
Okay. Details, please.
Synopsis is: a guy struggling to find his place in life starts his day looking for a job, but finds the world he knew regress into a mess of confusion, and the only one with the answers is too busy killing everyone. So this is like really low budget shock. It's supposed to be shock, but I really don't feel like it's too shocking necessarily. Very low budget stuff. A lot of blood though, but it's like this tentacle monster that's going around killing people. If you really like really, really weird shit, you probably will need to check it off your list. But it doesn't have enough, weird out scenes, like enough, like, oh my god, I've never saw that kind of stuff, because we've seen too much, I guess, maybe. But I didn't find it as great as I kind of thought it was going to be, because the title seems pretty out there. But
yeah,
by all accounts, it is out there. But again, it's just so low budget that it can't do what it's wanting to do. I'm not for sure, but I didn't find it. It's definitely not scary or like anything like that, or again, not really shocking, to be honest. At least to me. So, but if you you can maybe give a trailer a spin and see if it'd be up your alley or not. But definitely interesting title.
Yeah, it is.
Up next is Bite Me.
Bite Me? These titles are cracking me up.
Bite Me from 2004. This has Aaron Brown in it, also known as Misty Monday, which I've talked about before. This one is an okay movie. It's just about these people, strippers actually, who are they get caught into a monstrous army of creatures, these little bugs and stuff. So they have to go to war with them. Very low budget kind of stuff. I want to say Donald Farmer helped out on this movie. I can't be for sure, but I don't want to say he did. He didn't direct it though. Brett Piper did. That's it was all right. Up next was Hack. Not our friend Hack, but a movie Hack from 2007. This is a low budget movie, not super low budget, but low budget. Wanting to raise their grades, a handful of college kids are randomly selected for a field trip study to wildlife, but don't get the chance as a cliche horror film style murder occurs. So it's about these people. They go on this island and stuff, and then all of a sudden they start seeing murders, like reenactment of like horror films that you know and stuff. It's okay. It's got the girl from Buffy in it, Juliet Landau, and probably a couple of people you might have seen in a few things. But so it's not super low budget, but it's low budget enough. It's okay, but nothing. I mean, don't rush out. Don't rush out to watch it. You know.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
Up next was a rewatch of Videodrome. I don't feel like I need to explain that one. Obviously, great movie.
Yeah.
David Cronenberg, just freaking freaky, wild as hell.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff.
I love like the special effects in Cronenberg's films. Love it.
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite things about Videodrome.
Yes, definitely. It's great.
Yeah.
Up next was a new movie that came out this year called The Inheritance.
The Inheritance. Okay.
Yeah.
I've watched the trailer or something. You said it just come out?
Yeah, it came out this year. A billionaire on the eve of his 75th birthday invites his estranged children back home out of fear that tonight someone or something is going to kill him. He pulls each one of their inheritance on the line and to make sure that they'll help. All right, so it was okay. I didn't really love it. It's kind of a Ready or Not ripoff. That might give everything away, but not really. But kind of a Ready or Not ripoff. It has some creatures at the end that are okay, but it's just kind of more by the numbers, I think.
Gotcha. Okay.
Up next was The Watchers.
The Watcher.
Today I watched 4 films today. I was trying to get something good to talk about with you because I really didn't have a whole lot. So I watched The Watchers. Yes. The Watchers, that was the one that dropped a few months ago. Came out. It's that M. Night Shyamalan, his daughter.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not the singer, right? One of his daughters is a singer, right?
Probably not. No, not that. I don't know about that. But,
Gotcha.
This is a young artist gets stranded in an extensive immaculate forest in Western Ireland, where, after finding shelter, she becomes trapped alongside 3 strangers stalked by mysterious creatures each night. So this is a PG-13 movie, but I liked it. It's pretty good.
Okay.
It's pretty good. You can definitely see the genes are very much.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask you. That's exactly what I wanted to ask you. Is anything like Daddy's movies or?
Yeah, I could definitely. I could tell some titles of his, and you'd be like, "Oh, okay." I can definitely see that. I mean, it's definitely there. The influence is definitely there. But yeah, for a PG-13 movie, I think it works pretty good. I think it was well done. Not too bad at all. Up next was Winnie the Pooh Part 2, Blood and Honey.
Oh, was that come out? Okay.
Yeah, that's out. It's on Amazon right now.
Okay. What do you think of it?
Pretty good. Again,
you liked the first one, right?
I did like the first one. Yeah,
Me too.
I mean, this one's more of the same. I mean, the kills are awesome. I mean, there's a lot of kills. There's a lot of head bashing in this movie. As far as gore wise, I mean, I don't know what's coming out right now other than Terrifier. That's really more gore than these movies right now. So yeah, that stuff is great. I mean, they're trying to add more stuff to the lore. I don't know how well that really works. I wasn't really a fan of Tigger. I don't think like the look of him that much. I don't know. Maybe that was the original look of Tigger, but definitely wasn't like the later version of it. But yeah, I mean, it's just more of the same, really. But it works.
Okay.
It
Okay.
works. So
Cool.
if it's not broke, why fix it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But
so funny that like you're like it's pretty gory. I mean, it's funny to me that you're like it's on up there with Terrifier, Winnie the Pooh, and Terrifier. Who would have ever thought they'd be like?
well, I mean, I don't know if I don't think all of their stuff is practical necessarily. I'm not for sure. I don't think so. But I mean, whoever they've got that does it, it looks good. It looks good.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome. Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed. Like we're talking about movies and how we haven't seen a lot of great ones. A lot of these newer movies, like the CGI is so extra. It drives me insane. I hate it. Like CGI, not just blood, but anything really. When it just starts to look cartoonish, I just don't like that at all.
right,
And it's kind of a turn off. Totally a turn off.
for sure.
Like whatever happened to good old fashioned practical effects? Dang.
Yeah, they cost money. They cost money. That's what happened to them.
Costs money and you gotta have talent too, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Up next was A Quiet Place, Day One.
Okay.
That's the newer one that came out not too long ago. So, are you a fan of the Quiet Place movies? First of all, let's get to that first.
I don't think I've seen any of them.
You don't see any of them. Okay, all right, fair enough then. Well, I do like the first two. They're PG-13 horror stuff, but I like them. It's a good concept. It's not bad. This one's okay. I don't feel like it really brought much to the table. As far as like it didn't really expand. Like with the first two, you kind of learn a little bit more about the creatures and stuff, I think, or like how to deal with them at least. This one doesn't give you too much. It actually is an origin story. It's the like when the day one starts of the whole catastrophe. But I mean, and the acting is good and everything. And it's well done, but it doesn't really like do much other than retread what you kind of already know, honestly, for the most part.
Okay.
Not a bad movie. I definitely one to watch if you are a fan of them. I wouldn't say start with it. Maybe start with the first one. If you don't like it, don't watch this one or the rest. But
do you think that I would like them?
I don't know.
That's what I was wondering.
They're creature films and they're creature features, but it's not gory or nothing. It's PG-13. They're not gory films, and it's really silent. It's called The Quiet Place, so there's a lot of silence in the movies.
Yeah, it's probably why I've never seen it. Just saying.
Yeah. So they may not be up to you, or they might not be up for you, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
maybe not. And the last thing I watched today was Carla.
Carla, I don't think I've heard of that one.
Carla from 2006. This one, it's got Laura Pepperin, the girl from the 70s Show,
Okay.
and Misha Collins from Supernatural.
Okay.
So I never, I'd seen the cover for this for a long time. I'd never watched it before. The first time I watched. So this is a true crime story too, and kind of the reason I watched it is because I'm listening now to the last podcast on the left, and the episode I'm listening to is about this particular true crime event. So this is based on real events. Paul Bernardo and his wife, Carla Homolka, kidnapped, sexually abused, and murdered 3 young girls. So this kind of gives you a very limited scope of what I mean. It's rated R, but it's not. It doesn't get very out there as far as with what happened, as far as showing stuff. But I guess this one is more of a slant to maybe making her more of a victim than what a lot of people think. But it's a decent movie. I mean, the acting's well done and everything. Knowing about the story from the podcast and stuff, I mean, you can definitely, see where a lot of the stuff happened and everything. But It's got like 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so people are probably not a big fan of the movie. Well, actually, that's Rotten Tomatoes. On IMDb, it's a 5.4, so that's pretty average.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I liked it. I mean, again, kind of knowing the story, I kind of understood that it was definitely an angle, but yeah, pretty decent.
Okay. Okay.
And that's all
So
I got. So
okay.
nothing really amazing, honestly.
Oh no, it's so funny. Like I have said countless times in the last month, I'm like, I have a craving. I have a craving for a really good horror movie. I do that sometimes where I'm like, like if you go out to eat and you pay a shit ton of money for this meal, but you're not
Mhm.
really satisfied from it. You're like, oh my God, I paid all this money. It's not even satisfying. That's how I'm feeling about movies right now. Um,
Yeah,
I'm
sometimes
like,
that
am I running
happens.
out of them? And my favorite type of horror movie to watch is I love the what the fuck horror movies when it
Yeah,
gives you that shock factor, that what the fuck moment. I absolutely love those, and I'm just not getting that from anything. So, if there's any recommendations out there, please comment, send us a message, something.
right.
If you have any
Yeah,
recommendations of something that you haven't heard us talk about that you would recommend. Give
yeah,
me one of those extreme what the fuck movies, please.
exactly. Well, that's why I watched the Videodrome again because I was like, you know what, I gotta have something good.
I know, isn't that crazy? I do a lot of rewatches too, just because sometimes you're like, I've seen this movie, I love this movie, I'm gonna do a rewatch because I need to watch something good.
Yeah,
But yeah, such a love the feeling of the first time you watch a what the fuck movie. The first watch, when you first get that feeling, that I love that. I love that. And like when I'm doing acting, and I love to try to bring like a what the fuck moment any way I can, because that's what I love about movies.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
And push those boundaries.
Absolutely. Well, that's all I got. So you want to talk to Jeff?
Yeah, let's talk to him.
All right, let's bring him on.
So tonight's podcast, we have a really special guest. Tonight we have Jeff Ignatowski. He's the owner of Scorpion Lair Games. He's the founder of the Killers, the card game, and he's the author of a true crime series. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, Jeff.
Hey. How's it going, everybody?
Good.
Pretty good. So I met you at the Nashville the World Oddities Market. And you're one of my favorite vendors there. I was like, I didn't talk to you for the longest time ever because I was so fascinated with all your stories that you have and your card game. So that's the first thing I want to ask you is we want to talk about your card games. But let's go back a little bit further. Like, how did you get into how did you get into all this, like with true crime and your fascination there?
So, really, like, it has been my entire life has been, it's kind of revolved around true crime.
Really?
And I grew up right outside of Philadelphia in Wilmington, Delaware, is my hometown. Of course, I live in Cincinnati now, but I grew up there. And like half of my family is Italian. I am not Italian at all. I am half Filipino, a quarter Polish, and a quarter German. But there's half of my family is all married in Italian. And during the 70s, they were all fronts for the mob. They had a bunch of restaurants and stuff. And when the riots happened in Philadelphia in the 70s, all of the restaurants had the mob guys outside them with shotguns protecting the restaurants. So I kind of grew up in that culture. My dad was friends uh, before I was born with the boss of Philadelphia, Angelo Bruno, and he was killed 6 months before I was born. But I grew up with all those stories. I grew up with all of that stuff. It's actually interesting because just today I sent a message to Joey Merlino, who has a podcast now, and it's called The Skinny. But he is the he is former, maybe current boss of Philadelphia. So it's just funny that he has a podcast and he spent some time in jail and got out of jail and has straightened things up. He's run a couple restaurants and things, but I sent him a message today, so I'm kind of curious to see. We have some mutual history there in the area. But my dad also met Manson in the early '60s before the murders.
Wow.
So I was around all of that stuff. So it's always been fascinating to me from a very, very young age. Just the idea of true crime. I told this on a podcast earlier this week that my dad wanted to be a hitman for the mafia. Like, that is kind of what I grew up in. I grew up in that whole culture, and I tried to follow my dad with everything that he did. So I grew up as a little shithead, badass, running around the streets, getting into trouble and doing all kinds of stuff. And so, now you fast forward 30 plus years later, because I just turned 44, that, I've kind of used all of the stuff that I have learned and that I grew up around to further my business and to really do some stuff that I enjoy.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is so cool. That's kind of like why we started a podcast about horror. We love horror so much. I don't know if you remember this when we were talking. You probably don't, because I know you probably talked to a million people when you work these conventions. But you had some masks there that I think one of your buddies made, and it was of Ed Kemper. And I think I told you that like a couple weeks earlier, Kemper's my maiden name, and
Wow.
I had asked my dad, like randomly, we were out having dinner, and I asked him, I was like, are we any relation to like Ed Kemper? And I don't think he thought twice about it. He was like, oh yeah. And he started saying, oh yeah. And his dad was from blah, blah, blah in Texas. And I was just like, what? I was like, are you serious? He goes, yeah. Like he didn't really think twice about it. I was like, oh my God, I have a serial killer in my family. And that's pretty crazy. It's Ed Kemper. That's so weird. But yeah, I don't know if you remember that or not, but
No, I do. I remember having that conversation. I try to remember all the weird conversations that I have at conventions, mainly because at some point I'm going to write a book on stories from the conventions that I go to, because I hear so much stuff.
Oh my God, I bet you could write a damn good book too.
Oh, it's wild, some of the stuff that I hear. I just met a guy when I was in Jacksonville a couple weeks ago that gave the last directions to Ted Bundy before he went and kidnapped Kimberly Leach, his final victim. So he told me a whole story about meeting Bundy at a gas station and giving him directions on how to get back to Lake City from Jacksonville.
Wow.
Whoa, that's pretty crazy. Wow. That is so crazy. You also, if I remember right, you travel around to different like famous crime scenes, right? Right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
sell like little memorabilia from different places.
Yeah, I do a show on YouTube called Route 666, and it is just me documenting all the different places I go to. And I mean, it's real short. I do like, well, honestly, they're like 2 or 3 minute videos. And I do it that way on purpose because a lot of the places I'm at, I'm not asking permission to be there. And I don't want to piss off the people that live there or the people that don't want to hear the shit about their house that used to be owned by this murderer or that murderer. So I try to do it kind of under the guise of night. And we try to get in there and out of there. I did a video. It just got mentioned on a podcast, but I was in Philadelphia and we went to Angelo Bruno's house. Of course, Angelo Bruno was killed right outside of his house. And I already mentioned that, he died 6 months before I lived and was a friend of my dad. So it was kind of weird being back there and standing in front of the house that they shotgunned him to death at. But it was wild. So usually what I do, or not usually, all the time when I go and do that, I'll take a video and I'll grab some dirt from the location while I'm there. And so I make these shadow boxes that I have at my booth. And so people can come up and get a little piece of, it's kind of low rent murderabilia. People can have a little piece of whoever it is that I've been there, because I only get stuff from locations that I've been to personally. So I have not gotten very much from like the West Coast. I've been to Vegas once since I've been doing this. So I got a couple items from Vegas. I actually have some dirt from the corner of where they shot Tupac. And then I have dirt from right outside of the Mandalay Bay, where Stephen Paddock did the worst mass shooting in American history, and which ironically I got that, and they're tearing down the Mandalay Bay. So the Mandalay Bay is going to be gone by the time I get back to Vegas next time.
Yeah, that's crazy. I do
Yeah.
remember that because you had dirt from Chicago where the murder castle used to be, because I think I told you the story the only time I've ever been to Chicago, I was like, I want to go see where the murder castle is at. And like I roll up and it's like this really ghetto like post office. And the lady was like, are you here to see the murder castle? I was like, yeah. I was like, can you take me down like the tunnels underneath? She was like, no, I am not allowed to do that. She shut me down
I
real
wish.
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how, like, several people that I know have gotten permission to do that. I don't know how. Like, I mean, Ghost Adventures was there. They went down into the tunnels and did a whole show down there. But old Zach Baggins must have some pull with somebody, because I mean, it's a government building,
Right.
the post office. So it's not open to the public. I believe that my buddy John Borowski got down there too when he did his documentary on H.H. Holmes. They filmed some of it down there. So, I don't know how these guys got access, but I am not nearly important enough to be able to get that kind of access.
Yeah,
So,
same. Me either. What about you, Mike? You lived in Chicago. Did you ever get to go in the tunnel where the murder castle's at?
No, no, and that's the thing about that one, and also Gacy and all of them. A lot of those places they're gone. You're not gonna actually be able to see any of those actual places that where all the murders occurred, because they usually tear most of those down. Do you find, Jeff, that most of the places you visit, the original locations are gone? It's just more or less the location itself. How many have you found that are still standing?
one.
Just one? Yeah, yeah.
Well, no, maybe two, because the recording studio where, oh my goodness, what is his name now? I can't think of his name. The guy in Nashville that had the cult down there. I can't think of his name right now off the top of my head. But
Was it Tony
anyway,
something? Is it Tony?
yeah, Tony Alamo. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tony Alamo.
Yeah.
That recording studio where he had his church is still, the recording studio is still there. The building is still there. The same thing with, I didn't get a chance to do it when I was in Indianapolis a couple weeks, like 2 weeks ago, but I wanted to go where Jim Jones had his first church there in Indianapolis. The People's Temple started there. It actually started in his house there, and then they moved into a building. The building is still there,
Oh,
and
nice.
so and it's funny. Apparently, it's still a church. It's just It's not the People's Temple anymore, obviously, but
Right.
it's another church. So I kind of wanted to go there and check that out, but I haven't had time. I didn't have time to do that. But the other one that is exactly the same is Charles Manson's aunt and uncle's house in McMicken, West Virginia. That house is identical. It has not been changed, not been updated since Manson was there. And I mean, it's in West Virginia. It's in a little town called McMicken. It's on the side of a mountain. And if you know anything about West Virginia, uh, it's got to fall down before they rebuild it. And it hasn't fallen down yet. So it stayed exactly the same.
Nice.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that's cool. Cool. So tell us about Killers the card game.
Okay, so in 2021, just after COVID, actually, it was a year before that, several years before that. I started working on this concept of this game, and I am a huge fan of gaming. I have, played Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering most of my life, and I really just have always had kind of a knack for deconstructing mechanics, and so I really enjoy doing that. So I was I was out at a head shop, a little like oddity shop here in the Cincinnati area, and it's actually in northern Kentucky. And I was at that shop, and I was there with my son, and he said to he he said to me he wanted me to buy him a pack of cards, and I was like, "What cards are you talking about?" And so he pulls out these true crime cards, and I said, "Oh man, that's cool. I had those when I was a kid. I had the full set." I said, "Well, how much are they?" And he said, $6 a pack. I said, "Put that shit back. You ain't getting no cards for $6 a pack. Like, I'm not buying you a pack of cards for $6. You're just gonna throw all over the place." And he said, "Come on, Dad." I said, "No, I'm not buying you those cards." I said, "I could make those cards." And like a
Oh,
lightning
light
bolt
bulb goes off
hit
right
me.
there. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh shit." So by the time I got home, I had already sketched out I sat down and I sketched out a plan for Killers the card game. It took me about an hour and a half, and then 3 years later, I finally developed the game itself and got it into production. But yeah, it is really has always been about awareness. Currently in the game, we have close to 600 killers in 5 different expansions. But the basic idea of the game is you play as the killer, trying to get to be the first person to get 10 kills, or be the last person standing. So you have to abduct and kill your victims. You have to avoid the police, and you have to avoid the other players. So there is a lot of very, very dark humor in the game. But really, I wanted people to be able to get into the mindset of some of these killers. And, we're all fascinated anyway by these people. So I wanted people to be able to kind of step in their shoes and understand them from a different perspective, because I think it's important to do that. I think we lose something when we turn away and we try to hide it, like these things don't happen out there all the time. And I think that we are much further along as a society if we're able to look at it for what it is and decide that we want to create new things that can stop the crazy people out there that kill other people. So anyway, yeah, I created Killers a card game because of that.
Well, there's always some people that might be disgusted by that sort of theme, but I think there's a lot of people interested in true crime, and there always has been, but it's really blown up, in the last decade or so. But now you've given your reason why you're kind of always been drawn to it, but why would you think like a person who's not been around or involved in any of this stuff, what makes them get really really drawn to this sort of stuff?
Uh, I think I think the most common thing that I hear out there all the time is people just want to understand why.
Hmm.
Like why or how could somebody do this? Uh, that is the main reason why you know, especially women are very interested in true crime.
Yeah.
Often they want to understand that. Myself personally, that is never the reason why I came to it. Even though I already explained the basic reason why I came to it, there has always been a very different question for me. I've always wanted to understand why not, rather than why, like why I haven't done those things to this point. And so I really struggled with a lot, very similar mental illnesses that some of these other killers had struggled with. And I found ways to self-regulate and deal with myself, and be able to stop some of the crazy thoughts that would just jump into my head. So it's always been interesting to me to understand why not, versus just why it happens altogether because I already know why it happens. I just don't understand, uh, or at least I didn't understand why I haven't done that. So, as I've gone on, a lot of the stuff that I do now, through doing Killers the Card Game, writing the books, and stuff like that, have been very cathartic for me in my own personal journey in learning who I am and why I am the person that I am. So, like, for a lot of people, they don't even want to approach that subject because it's something that is too real for them, and that's fine. You know, there are people that should not ingest true crime, but there are millions of people out there that are,
Yeah.
and those people need direction, right? Because there are some people that are not wrong ingesting some of that stuff and ingesting the dark side of history. Uh, can certainly have an effect on certain people that are not prepared for it. So, how do we develop things that allow people a safe space to still engage with that and use that to figure out um, how they can deal with that in their own lives? I think is important. So, I play around with a lot of that.
Oh, it's very cool. That's put in a different perspective. Like I never would have thought that way. But yeah, no, I can totally see that. And your table was hopping at the oddities market. I was like, damn. I mean, I remember sitting over there and I was like, sit there and waited to talk to you for like ever because God, your booth was like swamped. So your game's it's pretty damn popular, right?
Yeah, I mean, in like we've been out about 3 years now, and I've done over 3,000 units in 8 different countries. And for a very, very independent guy that has no like distribution anywhere, the fact that I have over 40 retailers and that we've done sales like that has been incredible to me. That there has been such an interest in all of that, and when I first conceived of the idea, I always thought like people were going to come to me and like, man, what a piece of shit. Why did you sell me that terrible game? And that has never happened, not one time. I've had people contact me because they wanted clarification for some of the rules and stuff like that, but never once because they didn't like the game. So, I've had people that have never played it before. That, of course, the online justice warriors
Yeah.
that want to say how terrible it is, and I've had a few of them.
Sure.
I did have one at a convention that came up and like went off on me one time, but that's only happened once in 3 years. I really honestly thought that would happen to me every weekend, and I was like, "Oh, these people are going to hate me," and it has been completely the opposite. Uh, you know, I have gotten in like where I thought that people were going to like throw me out of conventions. Like I get them inviting me back, inviting me to more conventions, putting me up there to speak at the different conventions, and I'm like, wow, this is wild.
That is so ballsy to me. Like someone coming up to you and like going off on you because they didn't like the game they bought. Like that's just so ballsy. I'm like, who
Oh,
does that?
that wasn't why they were going off on me. They had never played the game.
It was just the
They were
content.
drunk. Yeah, they were drunk and angry and thought I was a piece of shit. That
Oh
was it.
wow.
Yeah, she
Okay.
had a little bit to drink, and she got awful brave and came up there and went off on me and called me all kinds of names and said that I thought it was funny. She said to me that I had drilled people down to 2 or 3 paragraphs on the back of a card, and I
Oh.
said, I don't know. I said, honey, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but there is only so much room to write on the back of a 2.5 by 3.5 inch card.
Right.
Like,
That's
and
crazy.
like I can only add so much there. Hence why I have a book that came out, right? Where I can talk more about those things. And so it's like it was just funny to me the way that she said it. And I'm like, uh, yeah, I don't know what you expect me to do. Like there's only so much I can do. There's only so much space.
That is so crazy. I believe it though. People, I swear, people like invent things to bitch about sometimes.
Oh, that's for sure. That is
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. So if in your book that you're talking about, so what would be different if I read that book? Like, what would be different about your book versus other true crime books out there?
So when I started out, I didn't want to write something that, everybody had already done. Like there's so much shit out there. I was like, I just don't want to be the same book in a sea of other true crime books. And I was like, all right, what have people not talked about that I find fascinating? And a lot of the things, like, I mean, clearly, I don't have a problem with controversy. So, like, for me, it's always been fascinating to look at a lot of these true crime stories and see what people take as fact that may or may not be true, right? People will go around and say all kinds of, of facts, right, in quotation, that they think are true about these different crimes because somebody said it on a podcast one time or because they watched some documentary and somebody said that. But the truth is that 90% of the documentaries out there have an agenda going in that they want to tell you. They want to tell you a story. The same thing with different podcasts, right? They have an agenda to get across their message. But in the book that I wrote, I really wanted to cover those things. And I guess maybe the style that I write, I don't like to tell people what to think. And so I leave the book very ambiguous. And I give facts and I give different theories that people have postulated about these different killers. And then I give resources on how you can dig in deeper and you can look for more information. Now, I know what I believe about a lot of those things, but I don't want to handhold people in their moment of discovery, right? If you want to learn more about these people, learn more about them. And then I tell people in the book, like, if you have a different opinion, send it to me. Let me know because I'd be interested to hear what it is. I may think it's horseshit. I may tell you that I think it's horseshit. But I'm always more than willing to listen because it may be something that I've never heard before. It may be a different angle on something that I've not come across, and it may be important because forensics and investigative techniques change all the time. We get new information all the time, so who knows what can come out tomorrow? Who finds a binder in their attic that gives the layout for some crazy crime that we've never even heard of or shines light on a story that we've heard a million times, but maybe completely different from what we've been told. And so I think it's important that people think critically about a lot of these things. And I think we suffer from a society that has forgotten to think critically about the things that we ingest. And we just listen to the bullshit news that tells us whatever they want us to know and tends to rule our life.
Oh, yeah, totally true. Now, do you like horror movies?
Oh, I'm a huge horror fan.
Okay. Okay.
And I love indie horror. I'm a huge indie horror fan. So I have a whole shelf full of weird ass, very strange movies. Sometimes the cheesier the better. But my personal favorite right now, as far as indie horror is concerned, and being probably one of the most fucking weird movies ever, is oh my goodness, why can't I think of it? Brian Dorton is the one that did it, and it's called Trashology. I have 1, 2, and I have not watched 3 yet. I kept fucking with him about the fact that I wanted to get a copy of 3, and it's I think it's on Amazon now, but I haven't went on there to get it to watch it yet. But the first 2 are just crazy.
Have you seen any of those, Mike?
No, I think didn't Michael buy some of those that time you guys went to Knoxville? I think Michael was showing off those. I'm pretty sure those were the ones he. No, I haven't saw them though, but I know what you're talking about. I've seen the covers.
Yeah, I think the last time I saw Brian was at CreepyCon in Knoxville.
Oh, that's so funny. What are the odds of that? That's
Yeah,
so
so
funny.
I think that's the last time I saw Brian. I see him pretty frequently when I'm out there doing stuff. He's a good guy.
Okay, so we'll have to check it out, Mike, for sure.
Yeah.
You got us on.
Yeah,
You got us on the indie horror. We're huge, like indie horror fans.
yeah.
So
It is a weird, very low budget movie that is about several drag queens that are going around killing people.
dude, that just sounds like something up our alley, doesn't it, Mike?
Yeah.
Like
There,
the weirder, the better.
Right.
I mean, there is a drag queen that takes a shit on somebody's desk. They make a cake in somebody's ass. It is a wild ride.
That's all. I'm telling you, it would be something we'd totally watch. That's
He
awesome.
did he did Crazy Fat Ethel,
Okay.
which is
Yeah.
which is a movie that is like a continuation of, oh, I forget what the name of the original thing is. It was done in like the 70s.
Yeah.
And I
right.
actually met the girl who played Ethel
Yeah.
in that. And of course, in the movie, she's, made up to look like pretty rough,
Mhm.
And I met her in person, and I was like, wow, that's a hell of a change. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. That was
I
Dixie,
was,
right? That was Dixie.
I think maybe so. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
she was at the at CreepyCon or FrankenCon, and Athena, she was in that movie also. We had her on the podcast, Bridget. Remember back in
Oh,
the day?
Nice.
really?
So
Okay,
yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
I met her at FrankenCon. That was
yeah,
where I met her at.
okay,
Yeah, because I was there at the son of FrankenCon.
yeah,
So
very cool.
You and Mike have probably met, and you probably just didn't realize it. I bet.
probably
Because
so.
Yeah,
we
Yeah.
work
very
conventions
possibly,
too,
absolutely.
so it's like the convention world's very small, very very small. Did
Yeah,
you
I
did
used
you
to.
work CreepyCon last weekend?
No, I was not at CreepyCon. I had to kind of I did not have a lot of stuff on purpose in August. I had some stuff happening here at home that I needed to clear my schedule for. So I did not consciously set up a bunch of conventions in August.
Yeah. Well, August will be over before you know it. Do you have any conventions coming up that you'll be at?
I do. I will be up at Michigan Paracon up in Sault Ste. Marie. I want to say, it might be, I don't know. It's 2 weeks from now, I guess, or a week and a half from now. It's the 22nd through the 24th. I'll be up there.
Oh, okay. Nice. And for our listeners out there, if they wanted to check out your game and your book and all your things, like where would be the best place they can find you at?
So the game and all of that stuff, and I have 6 games. I just released a new one that is basically a primer on crime scene investigation, which is a lot of fun. But those are all up on my website on scorpionlairgames.com. If you are interested in the book is everywhere. It's up on Amazon. You can get it at barnesandnoble.com. You can go to booksamillion.com and pick it up. But yeah, it's pretty much all over the place. It was crazy because it released on Amazon on July 2nd. And since it's been up on Amazon, we hit #1 hot new release in our category, and then I hit #1 bestseller. So technically, I am a best-selling
Congratulations. That's
author.
awesome. Congratulations. That's pretty amazing. Good for
Yeah,
you.
I was shocked, but
Yeah. See, those facts really paid off, didn't they? Doing your
yeah, it's
fact
crazy.
checking. Yeah. Cool. Well, I mean, we
Yeah.
really appreciate you coming on and talking to us.
Absolutely.
Anything else coming down the pipe?
Oh, yeah.
I have a ton of shit coming down the pike. I have a game that I'm going to be released. Well, before that, I have another expansion for Killers the card game that should come out by the end of the year, if I can ever get up off my ass and get it done. But it will be the experts and the accomplices, and so it will focus on accomplices to the different killers, as well as like prosecuting attorneys, defense attorneys. Podcasters, oddly enough, will be included in that. Authors. So we're going to put a bunch of people in the game that will be able to affect gameplay in all kinds of different ways. And then next year, I have a game that I'm working on called Step Right Up, Rule the Sideshow. And it is a deck building game all about building your 10-in-1 sideshow, trying to make as much money as you can before everybody else, either you go bankrupt or they burn down your sideshow. So I'm a huge fan of P.T. Barnum and the original sideshow and all the sideshow performers. And so even before I created Killers the card game, I wanted to make a sideshow game. And I just didn't know how I wanted to do it. And I didn't have enough experience with game design. And so now I figured it out. And so that will come out next year. There is a bunch of excitement around that. And that is also up on the website. You can sign up to be notified. And God, I should probably get out something this week. Like as far as newsletter is concerned, because I should probably be doing that. But yeah, it's rough when you're like your own company and you got to do all the social media and all the other bullshit, and so much falls through the cracks. And then on top of that, today I was working on volume 2 of Beyond the Headlines. So volume 1 was about serial killers. Volume 2 is on criminals. You guys have already heard my background with that. Yeah. And so today I was working on the chapter about Lucky Luciano and the beginning of the American Mafia. And so, yeah, I think in the last 2 days I've written, I don't know, somewhere around 3,000 words just on that chapter. So yeah, and I'm only done with the first myth. I haven't even gotten into the second 2 or the legend yet. Wow. So, you know, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh shit, I'm already at like 9,000 words and I haven't even completed a chapter. I'm like, uh-oh.
It's going to be a long one.
Yeah, it's long one. Yeah, you might have to break it down in like a series or something, right?
Well, that's what I already did that. So that's okay. That's how Beyond the Headlines became a volume 1, 2, and 3, because I didn't want to make like 1,000 like page encyclopedia. So I was like, I got to break this up. And so, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I started working on like Billy the Kid and Bonnie and Clyde, but those are not my favorite areas of history. And so like I was struggling to get it done. And so I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to jump into what I love. And so I went straight for the mob guys, and it's been easy. Like the last 2 days, I'm almost finished like that section. So
yeah,
good.
At least you have the content. Like I feel like a lot of authors, they just don't have, they know they want to write this, but they just don't have enough content. It sounds like you have more than enough content.
Yeah. Well, the thing that's interesting, like for me, it's, you know, I like a lot of structure. My OCD doesn't allow me to do anything else. So like I have a very like a format to how I write. So like I know that I want to do 3 myths and a legend, and I know that I want to talk about the history about that figure first. And so it's really easy as far as the format is concerned to write. And then it's really just the research, because, you know, I'm not writing anything that like I don't have to make up people and places and make all these connections happen and stuff. I'm not writing fiction. Like I'm writing about real live people. And, you know, I'm going back and I'm checking references and I'm looking at all these different people and who wrote what about this, and, you know, making sure that some of this is accurate, or if it's not accurate, I can, you know, use it to talk about why things become inaccurate. And so like it's a whole lot easier than coming up with stuff that is not true. My buddies who are like horror fiction writers and stuff have a much more difficult job than I do. And then I am going to, once I get done with that, I'm going to work on volume 3, which is Cults and Religions. And that one will be even longer than this one. Sure. And we'll get into everybody, including the Catholic Church and, you know, the People's Temple, I'm kind of excited because I'm going to get into in Criminals, Volume 2. I'm going to get into Oswald and the Kennedy assassination. I'll end up talking about Jeffrey Epstein to finish off the book. So it'll be interesting. I'm going to get into some hot button topics before the end of that one.
Sure. All right. Sounds good, man. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Yeah. So check out Jeff, his book, his game, and also in your own social media too. So where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on Facebook. It's just Jeff Ignatowski. I've got about 4 Facebook pages. I've got an author page. I've got Scorpion Lair Games has a page, but the one that I use the most is just Jeff Ignatowski. That one I post basically everything on. But you can find me on Instagram. I'm on TikTok when I actually decide to post any videos. And then of course I'm on YouTube. So go and check that out. You can, I'm also behind on doing that. I've got to do, I do a show on there called 5 Minute Murder, that I'm supposed to do every week. And I think I'm 2 weeks behind right now. But 5 Minute Murder will probably come out tomorrow. But there's like 60 episodes of that. And then, Route 666, check all that stuff out. It's on there. You can find it through my Facebook page, or you can go to Linktree/KillersTCG, and that has all my links on it.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes. Awesome. All right, Jeff. Well, I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's been a blast talking to you.
Absolutely. Oh, and by the way, since this is a horror podcast, Michael Myers is better than Jason. Fuck Jason Voorhees.
Love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm a huge Michael Myers fan. Literally will not get Kane Hodder's autograph because I don't like Jason Voorhees, even though Kane is my favorite Jason.
Yeah, for sure.
But I can't soil my wall of Michael Myers to allow Voorhees to be on my wall.
That's awesome. Noted.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right, man. Appreciate it.
Take care, man.
Cool. All right. See y'all later. Bye.
Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
All right. Jeff Ignatowski. Wow. Doing a lot of stuff there. Making some cool, dark stuff for people to check out, huh?
Yeah. It sounds pretty fun. I think I would totally play that game too. Might need to check into that. I want to be a serial
I'm not big
killer.
into games, but I would check out the book. I think that would be more interesting of me. But yeah, very cool. Very cool stuff. Yeah. All right. Well, you got anything else? Anything going on?
Man, I think that's it. Come see us next weekend. It's the Dare to Fail. Come check out Michael T. Flynn's film. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, go check that out. Should be a really good time. All right. Very cool. Well, until next time, you know what you should do?
What's that?
4 out of 5 doctors recommend that you stay
hardcore.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, that's another episode in the books. Until next time.
Cool. Until next time.
Later.
Wow. That's hardcore. Nothing harder.
Hardcore horror with Mike and Brigitte is a part of the Tennessee Horror Podcast Network.